Hi guys! Hopefully you've had a go at the handwriting which is in the video prior to this. If you haven't had the chance to do that yet, then just click on the link below in the description and that'll take you to my video about the handwriting for today's lesson. So today we're going to see if we can do a piece of big writing. Now in big writing we need to do this as independently as we possibly can. So to help you, I've written my own piece of big writing which I can share with you before we begin. We're going to be describing a Mexican setting, which is what the work we've done this week has been leading up to. To be successful today, we're going to first of all see if we can write in simple sentences to describe. We're going to see if we can use coordinating conjunctions like and, but and or to join sentences together. We're going to see if we can use subordinating conjunctions to make those sentences just that bit more interesting and exciting. And of course, what we've been working a lot on this week, we're going to see if we can edit and up-level our vocabulary choices so that when we're describing, we're not just using easy vocabulary. I thought it'd be lovely to share my own piece of writing which I've done. So let's have a look at this together. My setting description says, "Beneath the beautiful golden sun, the quiet mine ruins stand tall. They are made from sturdy blocks of grey stone, which makes it look beautiful and majestic." I've noticed a mistake. I'll come back to that at the end and fix it. The tower is surrounded by a large, wild jungle of greenery that waves gently in the wind. At the same time, birds are chirping happily, so it seems like a peaceful place to be. All around the tower there are some pretty fragrant flowers. This wonderful setting is peaceful and delightful to look at, especially because the sun is shining down on it. The air feels hot and dry, but it's not uncomfortable to be in. I feel like I could be very relaxed in this place. Do you think you would enjoy being here too? Just by that description, I think I'd like to go to this place. There's some really exciting vocabulary there, and there's some really excellent sentences. I'll share with you why some of these sentences are so good now. Before we do that, I said I spotted a mistake in my first paragraph. It's very important to proofread your work. If you don't proofread, then you could end up making mistakes yourself. I've noticed that my whole piece of text is written in the same tense. It's written in the present tense because I'm there now. I'm describing it as if I'm watching this place right now. So I've used words like is, it is surrounded, not was, which would be the past tense. But I noticed in my first paragraph I said, they are made from sturdy blocks of grey stone, which makes it looked beautiful and majestic. What word should I use instead of looked? That's right, I should say grey stone which makes it look beautiful and majestic. So let's change that now. So why do I think this is a good setting description? Well, if we look at the vocabulary, I've used some really exciting words like beautiful, majestic, pretty, fragrant, which means it smells really nice, peaceful, delightful, uncomfortable. All of these words are really excellent adjectives which you can use to describe the setting. As well as that, I've used some interesting verbs and adverbs. I've used words like surrounded to say that it's all around. I've said that the greenery and waving gently in the wind. Gently is an adverb to describe how the wind is waving. As well as that, I've used a range of different punctuation. I've used capital letters and full stops where I need them. I've used commas to separate different parts of the sentences. If you're supposed to pause when you're speaking, you put that comma there to show that it's two separate clauses in that sentence. I've also used a question mark at the end. I've tried to ask the reader, would you like to go there too? And based on the vocabulary that I've used, I would hope that lots of people would want to go there. In addition, I've used an apostrophe here in between the it and the s. That's because if I was to make that two words, it would be it is. But I've made a contraction. I've contracted it shorter to make it its. So instead of having it is as two separate words, I've made it its. So I've put that apostrophe there. Thinking about it, I haven't used an exclamation mark. So maybe that could be my next step in my writing. I could make it a little bit better just by including that fantastic range of punctuation, as well as using all that excellent vocabulary. On top of everything I've done, I have used some conjunctions to explain in a bit of detail. I think I used the word so somewhere over here. At the same time, birds are chirping happily, so it seems like a peaceful place to be. I've also used the word and as a conjunction, but I haven't used many more, so maybe that could also be an additional next step for next time I do my writing. Or maybe when I edit it later, I could add those words in and add a bit more detail. When you're doing your big writing, you've got this checklist to bear in mind. You need to make sure that you keep it into present tense. We're not writing about somewhere we've been in the past, we're writing about somewhere we are now. So we're going to look at a picture and that is what we're going to imagine we are in right now. A range of punctuation, of course capital letters and full stops, but could you use commas, exclamation marks, question marks, and maybe even an apostrophe? I'd like to see if you can use a coordinating conjunction like and, but, or, but I'd also like to see some subordinating conjunctions like so, because, which, even though, if, or when. There are more as well, but those are ones that you could choose to use that we've practiced in class. I want to see adjectives, verbs and adverbs. We've been focusing a lot on description this week, so hopefully we'll see some of that. Of course, neat handwriting. We practiced that in our starter, so of course when you're doing your writing today, make sure it's really clear and legible. And finally, of course, check your spellings. There's no point writing if you're not going to spell as many words right as you possibly can, because it's going to make it difficult to read. Of course, if you can't spell a word, just use your phonics and sounds and the way that the word looks to help you spell it. Here's the picture that we're going to be describing today. It looks a little bit like Chichen Itza, but it's not that place. It is a Mexican ruin, and there's lots of things that we could describe in this picture. I can't see many people in the picture. There's a group in here, but apart from that, there's not anyone around. So I wonder, when you're describing the way that it sounds, will it be noisy and bustling? I'm not sure it will. Have a look at the sky. The sky is really clear, just a few clouds, and it's a bright blue sky, so it must be a really hot day. I can see that there are ruins over here. Even though they look ruined, they're still standing very tall and strong. And in the foreground we can see this lovely greenery, which we can also describe. In the background too, lots of greenery. It's almost like this is surrounded by green, as if it's going to be a really quite relaxing place to be. When you've had a go at describing your writing, maybe you could take a picture of your writing and you could post it to your blog for other children to see. Good luck with your writing today, and if you need any help, remember, your parents can always email the office and get in contact with me, and I can give you some advice.